Tonight conversation is heavy. It's going to be heavy, people, but it's necessary. Now, domestic violence is not a private issue. It's not just a relationship problem. It's a public health issue and a community issue, as well as a generational issue. According to the national data, millions of people experience domestic violence every single year, and many cases are never reported at all. So that means what you see in the headlines is only a fraction of what actually happens behind closed doors. Now, this conversation tonight isn't about blame. It's about understanding, prevention, as well as responsibility. Now, what domestic violence really is, that's what we want to know. Now, domestic violence is a pattern of behaviors used to gain or maintain power and control over another person in an intimate or family relationship. Now, this may include physical abuse, like hitting, slapping, choking, restraining, even throwing objects. Could be a form of domestic violence, as well as our emotional and psychological abuse as well. And those consist of constant criticisms, humiliation, threats, and intimidation. And also gaslighting, making someone question their own reality. Domestic violence is also financial abuse, okay? It could be financial. Controlling access to someone's money, preventing someone from working, even running up debt in their name. And of course, we all know sexual abuse, coercion, pressure, or force. Did you know even ignoring sexual consent within a relationship or marriage is also a form of domestic violence? What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for coming in. I see y'all coming in. Thank you. Red Specs in the building. Nowadays, domestic violence could be digital abuse. Have you ever heard that? Digital abuse, where someone is monitoring phones, phone calls, or monitoring your social media, tracking your location or putting trackers on your cars and different stuff like that. Harassment through text messages. Yeah. And one of the most dangerous misconceptions is thinking abuse only counts if someone gets hit. In reality, emotional and psychological abuse often comes from physical violence and can just as be damaging, right, as the rest of them. Now, why abuse escalates over time? Domestic violence usually follow like a certain pattern. Okay? Tensions building, people walking around on eggshells, fear, emotional pressure. It could also be those incidents, verbal, emotional, or physical abuse. Reconciliation. And you get those apologies, promises, gifts, and then you get all that affection afterwards. Calm. That's when things seems better and hope returns. Now, this cycle repeats and often escalates over time. What starts as yelling or control can turn into physical harm over time. So those things you have to watch, from the yelling to the control to the physical harm. The danger increases when a survivor tries to leave. Now, statistics consistently show that the risk of serious injury or death is highest during separation or right after leaving. Yes. What's up, y'all? I see y'all in the building. This is tight. This is some real serious stuff here we talking about tonight, and I want to thank everybody for coming in. Let's move on. So why people don't just leave? And a lot of people ask that. Oh, leave. If this man or this woman is abusive, leave. Why you don't just leave? Leaving an abusive situation is not a single decision. It's not a single decision. It's a process. Okay? It's a damn process. There's barriers there. There's barriers there, which include, but not limited to, fear of retaliation, right? Financial dependence. Maybe somebody's under your health insurance and you can't really leave, and you're sick, or you need medication, or, you need that financial dependence. Housing insecurity. Maybe you live with somebody and if you leave, you have nowhere to go. Children and custody concerns. That's like one of the biggest ones there, because a lot of people don't want to leave their children because of the domestic violence. I'll stick it out for my kids. And nowadays, immigration status. Immigration status. A lot of people afraid that they're going to get deported, or reported to ICE or any federal agent. Isolation from support systems. People that normally help you out and help you with support, you're afraid to leave that. And you're afraid to be isolated from that. Shame and self-blame. Now, many survivors leave and return multiple times before they can even leave permanently. This is not failure. It's survival. Okay? Abusers often work desperately to weaken confidence, independence, and outside connections, making escaping harder over time. It's crazy. What's the root cause of this? What's the root cause and risk factors of domestic violence? Now, while abuse is always a choice, certain factors increase the risk of the abuser's exposure to violence in childhood. So they get exposed sometime as a child with domestic violence. Maybe it's from their parents, anybody. They see these things. Unresolved trauma for anyone. Beliefs about power, control, and gender roles. Lack of emotional regulation skills, as well as substance abuse as an amplifier, not a cause. Social norms that excuse or minimize abusive behavior, like it's a norm. Now, domestic violence is not caused by anger alone. Okay? It's not caused by anger alone. It is driven by entitlement and control. Now, let's get back to our kids in the childhood, as I mentioned earlier. Impact on children and the community. Let's put it on that too, as well. Now, children who witness domestic violence are more likely to experience these following: anxiety and depression, behavioral and academic struggles in school, college, difficulty forming healthy relationships later in life. Even when abuse is not directed at them, the environment affects their development. Now, on the community aspect, domestic violence contributes to increased healthcare courses. That's right. And we all know healthcare courses is going up, skyrocketing like crazy. Workplace absenteeism. Not going to work, always taking off, always out because of domestic violence. Whether it's physical, you come to work with a black eye or bruises, or maybe it's just psychological. Intergenerational trauma. You see this all around. It started from grandma getting beat by grandpa, or vice versa, because I don't want to keep this on a male doing things. Women also create violence. So this is why silence allows harm to spread. Because if you don't say anything, it just keeps spreading, generation after generation after generation. So now, how do we prevent and address domestic violence? Now, prevention starts way before abuse happens. Okay? So, teaching emotional intelligence and conflict early. Teach that early. You could teach it to your kids. If you're a teacher, teach it in school. Teach how to resolve problems early, resolutions early. Challenge harmful ideas about masculinity and ownership and control. Normalizing asking for help. So a lot of people don't want to ask for help. Make that normal. Normalize that. Ask for help when needed. Now, interventions require action, right? Like supporting survivors, right? Also, talk warning signs. Talk about warning signs and take warning signs seriously. What's up, y'all? Thank y'all for coming in. I see you. I see you. We hitting hard here tonight. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Then on top of that, we have to hold abusers accountable. And create a safe exit option when things get like that. Create a safe exit option. Domestic violence ends when communities stop tolerating it and start responding to it. Let me say that again. Domestic violence ends when communities stop tolerating it and start responding to it. Amen. So, for my final thoughts here tonight, love should never feel like fear. Never. Healthy relationships are built on respect. It's built on trust, accountability, and it's built on safety. Now, if this conversation helped you understand more, share it. If it made you feel uncomfortable, sit with that. And if it spoke to you personally, know that support exists all the time. Because breaking the silence saves lives. I just want to give you some info real quick before I go tonight on what to do in an emergency, 911 guidance. So if you or someone else is in immediate danger, of course, call 911. And 911 is the right choice. Now, when you call 911, listen up. Clearly state that this is a domestic violence emergency. Okay? Just do that. Give your location first, okay? Just in case you and a dispatcher gets cut off, okay? Answer questions calmly and briefly. Now, if you can't speak safely, right, just stay on the line. Just stay on the line. Dispatchers are trained to listen. You don't have to say a word on the phone. They'll be listening to what the abuser is saying at the time. If the abuser is present, do not escalate the situation to make that call. So if it's possible, move to a safer room or leave the location altogether. Go to a friend's house, go outside, go somewhere else. Trust your instinct. If you feel unsafe, it's an emergency. And calling 911 is not overreacting. It's protecting your life. Now, U.S. domestic violence support is confidential and it's free. Okay. Down at the bottom, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 24/7. Okay. So there are some numbers down below if needed. You guys could take those numbers down. That's scrolling down at the bottom. They provide crisis support, safety planning, local shelters and resource referrals, using those numbers. Also, confidential help for survivors, friends, and families. Okay, so if you are not in immediate danger but need guidance, this hotline here is crucial to your first step. Okay, to your first step. All right. You deserve safety, and help is available for you. So I hope this episode has helped someone out tonight. And if you know someone that is in a domestic situation, please don't hesitate to help them. I'm Red Specs, and this is Unscripted Conversations.